When my daughters were 4 and 2, we moved out into the country. And soon after we settled into our place, I wanted to attempt our first backyard camp out. So I set up the easy to assemble tent in about 2 hours and then got their Barbie sleeping bags and the flashlights and packed it all in. I went back to retrieve the girls, and when they got in the tent, it seemed to convert into one of those inflatable bouncy houses as they bounced around in there and on top of me. Finally, I got them settled down, and as we were beginning to fall asleep, my youngest got spooked by some nighttime noise. We had to take her back to the house where Mom was, but Mary, my oldest, we went back to the tent, and we were determined to make it through the night. If you've ever camped with a preschooler, you know that you wake up early and often. And so when we finally woke up for good, it was still early in the morning before the sun had even come up. What had been a hot, sticky summer night had turned into a cool morning, and we clutched each other in our shared sleeping bag there in the tent. Suddenly, the walls of the tent began to glow as the sun was coming up, and I unzipped the front of the tent, and I realized that we were facing due east. And Mary and I lay there frozen as we watched the indescribable colors go across the once dark sky. I mean, we held each other wordless in our little pop-up tent as the miracle of a new day happened right in front of us. Then Mary asked a question that still sticks with a dad a half-decade later. She said, "Dad, does this happen every day?" At first, I didn't know what she was asking. Does what happen every day? And then I realized she was talking about the sunrise. Does this happen every day? And then, in a deeper way, I realized what she was asking. She was saying, "Do you mean that this happens every day in our backyard while we're asleep? Is this a one-time event? It better be, Dad, if you mean to tell me that it's taken you 4 years to share this kind of thing with me." It stopped me because I spend my time and my energy and my money on a lot of different things. And sometimes those backyard camp out sunrise moments remind me of the things that I really treasure, like little girls who can't sit still and honest questions, and a God who can raise a brilliant light show in my backyard day after day after day. A God who's inviting me to amazing things, and yet so often I miss them because I'm spending my time and my energy and my money on a lot of different things. And they pull me and they pull on me in so many different ways. It's so easy to over-obligate ourselves, to fill up our calendars, to indebt ourselves in such a way that we not only miss, but forget where our treasure truly lies. Jesus said, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." We wish that was true, and I think sometimes we think that it is, that the things that we hold dear, the people we prize, those things we hold in our heart, our treasure will follow them. That seems to be the natural progression, that you could look at my calendar, you could look at my checkbook and know what I really hold dear in my heart. Sometimes that's true, that our treasure follows our heart. Jesus says that our hearts follow our treasure, where we're spending the majority of our time and our energy and our money, that our hearts will be drawn that way. We wish that weren't true. We look at some of the things we do and say, no, that's not my treasure. That's just something I have to do. These aren't the things that I long to do. These are the things that I'm obligated to do. And sure, we all have things that we have to do, but we have to be careful. Jesus warns us that if we're not careful, we'll see that our hearts follow our treasure. Where we're investing our time and our energy and our money will take a bit and then even more of our hearts. If you want to know someone's heart, Jesus says, look at their treasure. Again, if you're like me, you can see all kinds of places that with your treasure, your time and your energy and your money, they're not perfectly matching up with where your heart would desire to be. And no doubt, we'll never get it right here. We'll never get it quite perfect in this life. But the tension that creates, it makes me think about Mary's question, "Dad, does this happen every day?" That every day God's doing beautiful, wonderful, amazing things right there in my midst that so often I miss because I'm being pulled this way and that because of where I've invested my treasure. Sometimes my wife Rachel will remind me, "Jacob, this is your go. Like, this is your life." Sometimes I pretend like this is the dress rehearsal for something that's going to come later, but it's not. This is my opportunity. This is your opportunity to live your life for God and to invest your treasure where He desires you to do so. So what is it that I treasure? What people, what calling, what vision has God given to me? What is it that you treasure? What people, what calling, What vision has God given as treasure to you? And then, what are you giving your time and your energy and your money to? What can you do to see that your treasure and your heart are in the same place? It will be a hard journey for us, but one that will be well worth it. We'll begin to see the things that God is doing every day in our midst. We'll get to be a part of the things that God desires for us.